So the Greeks and the Romans documented, categorized, and created systems and ways of thinking to help to make things more reasonable, believing that it made it more better for a person to understand. So breaking it down into categories like math, science, even English from language, and breaking them down into these smaller, minute understandings. They believe that that would help us or people to understand concepts better. And this was based on believing that there had to be something deeper than just what they were being confronted with in like India or Egypt and different places that had this understanding of what was, what has been, and what could be. Being very present and intentional within the practice that they had, like right now, like presently. And so that categorizing and documenting were actually put in place to help shape the minds and also the processing of the minds of humans within Western culture. Now, many of the things that they documented and categorized were actually philosophies, literally processes or processings of their mind that they reasoned into existence that has become hardwired thought processes for humans. We believe it with our whole being to the point where anything outside of that we reject. And that's how it was so easy to implement practices like Christianity and Catholicism and how other spiritual practices like Islam or even just a lot of like Judaism, like all of these things were able to be put in place because they took the spiritual aspect of existence and separated it from everything else, from science, from math, from quantum physics, from psychology. It separated it as though it wasn't a part of it. It took spirit out of things that could be more logical. So understanding that Western theory was completely created to shape thought outside of it. It was in rebellion to everything that incorporated spirit in each of the categories. Like literally, if you think about Eastern theory, Buddhism, Hinduism, they were already incorporating spirit in everything. And because we believe, or within Western theory, it is believed that, like most practices, that spirit is outside of us. Like we have a spirit, but we need something outside of us in order to truly be able to live, to grow, to advance. Like believing that you need something outside of yourself keeps you in a practice of betrayal of self. And so within these other practices that incorporate spirit in your daily lives, like your daily walk, like everything that you do, spirit, like if you think about, there's a famous Buddhist who talks about mindful eating and literally chewing every bite multiple times. Like And then, so there literally are people within the Western society that is unable to do that, who has an issue with doing that because they say, well, I can't let food just sit in my mouth through every chew. So we have literally become a society of people who aren't as mindful as we could be. And we're literally put in positions where our food is not fully digesting because we're not breaking the food down in a way that our body can process it. Within traditional Chinese medicine, they treat the entire body. So they not only want to know what you're feeling in your body, but what you've been dealing with emotionally, mentally, physically, what your life looks like, what your day looks like, your relationships with your family. All of this is important to them in order to be able to help you to be better, to feel better. They can then tell you how it's manifesting in your body. Within Asian hospitals, they actually use energy work in those hospitals because they understand that the human being is very inclusive of multiple layers, including spirit. Spirit is not taken out. Literally, they treat the entire being. So, studying energetic cycles, the practice of daily breath work, meditation, prayer, these are things that are all incorporated in treatments for people, not just herbs as medicine, but literally treating the entire being, not just your soul, but your spirit, your emotional body. Like literally, and it's not saying that Western theory is a system that is so fragmented that it can cause illness. But if not including, or not from a place that is from a, not, if not, you're not coming from an enlightened place and you don't understand these other concepts, it can make you sick. You can take medicine every day, but if you haven't cured your broken heart, you're going to have some issues in your body. You may be angry, you may be sad, you may be depressed. And most of the time when someone's depressed, it's because there's some aspect of them that they're not fully living in. And normally it is a sacrificing of that aspect of you for someone or something. Your being cannot live that way. Your being came here to be a full expression of you. So if your body is retaining weight, it probably doesn't feel safe. My body used to retain weight when I didn't feel safe. I know other people whose body retain weight in certain areas when they have been put in positions where they did not feel safe, where they may have felt abandoned, where they may have felt as though they were not fully supported. It's our being is not as complicated as it seems. And when someone else has done the work, there has to be a balance. If Western theory does not want us to embrace Eastern theory ideals and belief systems, it has to be a better way or a third theory where we become more, or we are more within wholeness of who we are. So creating a system that was put in place to influence how our minds process and think means that it limits our ability to fully show up as ourselves, but also how we will be able to expand our minds and create new synapses in our mind to understand more, to be more, and to live more.